Hi, this is Claudine from Homespun Couture, and I'm doing a series on how to process a raw fleece. Now, my first couple of videos were about unboxing the fleece and washing the fleece. And this is what to do. This video is going to be what to do next after your fleece is washed and dried. This might be a little confusing because this is not the fleece that I just washed. My process is I buy the fleece, bring it home, and as soon as I bring it home, I wash it. Just so then I know that's done and it's ready to go for when I want to do that project. This fleece is actually a project that I've been working on. It's a Border Leicester from Maryland. I bought it at Maryland Sheep and Wool last May. I love the color. I'm honestly mostly buy my fleeces on color. I love these very dark browns, almost blacks. This Border Leicester fleece has a really beautiful lock structure. The locks sort of hold together really nicely. They have a nice sheen to them. But you kind of have to break up the lock structure if you want to spin it. Like when you pull out the fibers to spin, it's kind of hard to do if you're starting with a whole lock. It's just hard to separate out the fibers the way you would have to do for spinning. So what you want to do is you want to start separating them out by flicking them. So to flick them, you pull out a few locks. You'll get a feel for the right amount. Now I have an actual flicking brush, but I don't love it. So I use this dog brush that I got at PetSmart. It's a little bigger than a flicking brush. And you can see that it just immediately fluffs out when you brush it. Go to the other side. Brush it again. So now you can pull the locks out for spinning a lot more easily. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to card this fleece or not. I don't know if it needs it because it seems to be pretty easy to get it into a good spinning configuration without carding it. So I haven't decided on that yet. And so now the sort of information card about my fleece, I now have an intact lock and I have a flicked lock. So that's the next thing you need to do. Now flicking takes forever. It takes so long. I think it's a good thing to do kind of while I'm doing other things, like maybe listening to podcasts or whatever. So a little more about flicking. One of the things you're trying to do when you're flicking is, of course, to separate the fibers so that you'll be able to pull them apart and spin them. Then what I'm doing, it's basically what the spinning wheel does. It just twists your fibers together so they're stronger. Now, some of the fibers in any fleece you buy are going to be a little wonky. So you just want to separate those out. You can use them as mulch in your garden. I'm actually saving all of the wonky fibers from all of my projects because I want to make a felted dog bed for my dog because I think he'd like a nice wool bed. So these are some of the fibers that I discarded from this Border Leicester fleece. Now, this Border Leicester fleece was actually fantastic. There were very few knots and matted bits that I had to throw out. But like if you can see this lock, like when you pull it apart, it takes some effort and you wind up with a lot of broken pieces. Like this just isn't a full lock. And you can tell because while you're flicking, you can tell what the length of the lock generally is. And so this is about one lock. And you can see this is a lot shorter, so it's probably broken. So you don't want that one. This one's kind of all sort of curled up and knotted into a ball. And it's also, oh, and it's extremely short. You can see the fiber length is about, I don't know, less than an inch. So you don't want that one either. So that's one of the things that you're trying to do when you're flicking. Now that I've finished with the flicking, this is what the fiber looks like. Flicking really adds a lot of loft to your fiber. This looks like a lot, but it's not a huge fleece. It's only a little under 4 pounds. I think it was 3.75, which is about enough for one sweater with maybe a little extra for like socks or something. It's really not a huge amount. And you'll see when I'm finished spinning, the volume of yarn will be startlingly small. Now the next step for me is going to be spinning. Normally, after I flick a fleece, I need to card it to get the fibers to separate properly. But I tried spinning this with just flicked fibers and it works fine. So I'm going to skip the carding phase for this one. Fleeces are kind of neat because there's so much variation, and it's just kind of fun to experience the different breeds of sheep, but also even the variation among sheep of the same breed. And apparently there's even variation from the same sheep from year to year. It's an agricultural product, so it's a little like any other agricultural product, like peaches or wine. The wine from the same grapes from the same region from year to year will vary. And so wool is kind of the same way. And I don't know, I'd really like people to see fiber that way, to see it as kind of, oh, that's a good year for border Leicesters from Maryland. I think that would be a ton of fun.